All right, so Marty Flanagan here with Valhallan Esports Training Centers, and we are here. We're a franchise, and we're here to talk a little bit about what we're doing, where we're at, and kind of where we're going. So our past, our present, and our future. So Valhallan Esports is where we actually are a esports training center, and we are a franchise. So you have a franchise actual location. We're an in-person program. And what we do is we balance education and competition. So what we've learned in our past, over the past 6 years, we've built one of the largest STEM education franchises in the world. And in that time, we also built an esports competition platform program. So we learned a lot over the last few years of what works and what doesn't work. One of the things that we learned through this process of many things is that kids will continue to come in. Our players will continue to be with us and come in and be a part of our program if the more competitions we have. So our players will stay with us for competition, and our parents will continue to pay if there's some pathway for learning objectives in a larger, a bigger picture for what their son or their daughter is learning. And what we've seen is this impact that we've had with this younger generation. We know that today that kids are not joining traditional athletic teams as they used to. So where are this younger generation? Where are they coming up with the opportunity to be able to be on a team, to communicate as a team member? So what we focus on is team IQ, game IQ, and player IQ. So there's this whole side of it of how you communicate in a highly competitive environment. How do you work with team members when you're in a winning environment, or if you haven't done so well, how are you communicating in that environment? And it can be very competitive. It can be a little intense. And what our history has shown with building almost 800 franchise units across 3 different countries is that we understand how to build a franchise system that supports and grows with our franchisees. And the stage that we're in right now is really focusing on where we going from here. And so today, this call, what we're going to talk about, we have some frequently asked questions that we're going to talk about. I'm going to introduce you to our new brand president, and we're going to talk more with him as well. So you have a really good idea of where we are today and where we're going in the future. So we're going to talk about some best practices. We're going to go over some frequently asked questions that we get. And this call is designed to be about 15 to 20 minutes long. These calls are designed to be able to have you engage with us on asking questions so we can answer your questions live as well. So as we go through today, you're going to be able to hear some questions that we get on a regular basis, and you're going to hear kind of our pathway as we move forward. So we also have Jamie with us today, who actually works on our curriculum team and really focuses on that community aspect, and she's going to give her insight and a little bit today too on where that is headed. So again, Valhallan Esports Franchise Training Centers, we are focused on balancing competition and education for all of our players and allowing parents to see that there's more to this than just dropping their son or their daughter off to play video games. That's not what this is about. So we're going to learn more about that today too. So now I want to introduce Matt Phillips, our brand president. Matt comes from a long history of being an entrepreneur, being a franchisor, and being a franchisee. So he's really lived the full gamut of what it's like to be a franchisee, a franchisor, and to be an organic entrepreneur. So he understands the value of a system and an operation that can come alongside an entrepreneur and help them grow and help them face the challenges that they're going to face as an entrepreneur, because there are ups and downs. So he's lived that and breathes that today. It's not something he's just done in the past, but it's also what he's doing today. So Matt, I appreciate you jumping on and actually letting everybody kind of hear more about you and understand more about the direction we're going.
Hey, Marty, how you doing? I'm really excited to talk about Valhallan and about esports today. It's done a lot for myself and my family and a number of kids that we have had the pleasure of working with in our arena. And so I love talking about this business and this model, and excited to be here with you today.
Well, so Matt, now you have a Valhallan Esports arena that you operate. So it's not just that you're the brand president of Valhallan, you actually also operate an actual live location, correct?
That's right. I originally got started because my son who is 15 years old, has high functioning autism. And we homeschool him. And I was trying to come up with a way to be able to teach him business and mathematics. And Marty, if I stick a textbook in his face, he doesn't want anything to do with it. So I got to give him some real world experience. So what does he love to do? He loves gaming, and he loves competition. And so that's where I decided to get into the Valhallan business and open up my own arena. And so we have almost 100 kids now that are paying a membership to come into our arena and work with our coaches and work with our curriculum on a weekly basis. And so it's about our arena is about 1,300 square feet, and we have 22 computers, and it's based just north of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Now, so out of 1,300 square feet, I can also hear the wheels spinning of a lot of folks that are probably listening. Is what is the capacity of 1,300 square feet? Is it 150 players? Is it 200 players? Where do you see your capacity being at 1,300 square foot arena?
Well, Monday through Thursday, we do curriculum with the kids. We do live coaching with our coaches. We play in scrims and matches through our North American Esports League. That's a pretty regular set time schedule. We're going to have about 120 to 140 kids, players that are going to come in and pay that monthly membership to be able to be a part of that. On Friday nights, we do some lock-ins. We do parents' night out. We have birthday parties. Sometimes we have our district or regional tournaments, or we do individual events. That also brings in Saturdays that we do a lot of fun camps and boot camps. And we do sometimes we'll have parent-child competitions where they'll play together as a team against other parent and child. There's just no limit to what you can do on the weekends with this business because the kids love it so much and the parents want to be a part of it.
So we break down the business model and how revenue enters into the arena. There's two basic buckets. You have your single payment form, and then you have your reoccurring revenue. The reoccurring revenue is what Matt just talked about with that curriculum Monday through Thursday, where that's that curriculum that comes in that the kids are being a part of, and that's the revenue, that's that reoccurring part of that business, our Valhallan business. The other is single payment form. So you heard Matt kind of dish out, multiple single payment forms, from whether it be pop-up tournaments, camps, parents' night outs, birthday parties, workshops. Those are the single payment forms that come through, and those are done throughout the entire year. So whenever kids don't have school, you're able to do camps, workshops. Parents' night out can be done during school or out of school. But mainly when you're thinking of out of school opportunities, when kids are on summer break or holiday break, you have those camps and those workshops, and you can do pop-up tournaments, which are great opportunities for increasing the culture within inside the facility as well. So when we talk about individual player testimonials and what you've seen happen, when we talk about the curriculum side of it, and we talk about the game IQ, the player IQ, the team IQ, is there anything that really kind of any one player that kind of pops to mind of a story of that really was motivating, or anything like that you want to share?
Oh man, I just got chills going up my back and I have goosebumps on my arms because that's my why is these kids. What it's done for my son, my 15-year-old now, he is totally engaged. He has lots of friends at the arena now that, he just didn't have at school because he dealt with, some bullying issues and those kind of things at school. And there's so many stories that come to mind about, some of these kids. I'll tell one. We had a solos Fortnite tournament at our arena, And so we had a number of new kids that came in, or new players that were playing in this solo Fortnite tournament. And we organized it across the North American Esports League. So we had players competing all across the country, from Los Angeles to New York to Connecticut down to Florida. And so this player had made it through 3 rounds. And we were just about to start the semifinals and then going into the finals. And there was this father that came in the door, and he was in the background, just kind of sitting there. And I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm Matt. I'm one of the owners. What can I help you with?" And he said, "Well, I keep hearing my son's name come across this stream because we had these announcers that were doing the play-by-play of this Fortnite tournament. And he kept hearing his son's name, but he had no idea what was going on." And so I said, "Well, who's your son?" And he said, "My son's sitting right over there, and his name is Alex." And I said, "Well, I don't know if you know this, but your son Alex is winning the entire tournament." And he said, "No way." And I said, "Yeah, he is. And if he wins these next 2 matches, or if he scores enough points in these next 2 matches, he's going to win that giant cup that's sitting right over there." And so this father, who really hadn't had much connection with his son in the past, started getting really engaged. And he started watching the screen, and he started going behind his son and watching his son play. And he was starting to get emotional, and he was cheering on his son. And his son ended up winning the entire tournament. And when we announced the winners, the son stood up, and I'm getting a little emotional about it, because he stood up and he ran over and gave his dad a hug, and both of them were in tears. And he said, "Man, I can't wait to tell mom about this." And the father just looked at him and told him how proud he was of him. And the son just kind of got into tears. And it was just such a special moment where that father was able to connect with his son. And he had no idea how good his son was at something. And now we have gotten his son involved in college scholarship opportunities. He's been meeting with recruiters and playing in showcase tournaments. And his son is on a path to be able to have a full ride scholarship going into college, just from coming in one day and playing a Fortnite solos tournament at our arena. It was a pretty special moment.
And the reason the reason this is really important, I really do appreciate you sharing. The reason that's so important is a lot of the older generation that's outside of being a traditional gamer and inside of esports doesn't really understand the impact that team has on the individual player. And also, we don't always see it as adults and as parents. We're the first generation of parents that have had to face the gaming platform. Esports platform is also a social network, where my 19-year-old may have something where she does Snapchat. My 13-year-old has something else. But then this other generation is using a gaming and esports platforms as also their social network. While being on a team, there's multiple articles written and shown evidence that being on a team is directly connected to positive mental health. So as Matt shared some of the reason this is really important is you need to understand what a brand president is doing and why they're doing what they're doing. Matt's not here because he needs to have a job. Matt is here because he's very passionate about this. He's had direct life impact, and he also loves working with entrepreneurs. So this is a very unique opportunity to work with a brand that actually has been personally impacted by the world of esports and continues to have parents being impacted and sharing those testimonies with our team. So there's a lot more here besides just building these training centers. There's a big impact that it has on the community. And I know that, Matt, you have some other data you'd like to share, but I just want to understand the purpose of this call is for you really to understand why Matt is doing this and why it's important for us to have a great leader in place to be able to take our brand forward, that has experience in the world of esports, that has experience in franchising, and that goes beyond just being a great leader, but it goes on the drive behind that great leader. So, Matt, I know that there was some other information that you wanted to share about esports, and you also have Jamie with you, that maybe can give us some insight on the curriculum. And also, before we go there, I really wanted to just talk about one thing. A question that I get on a regular basis is, what games do you use? And, what are these games for? Why are you using these games? The games that we use are vehicles. They're vehicles to deliver the curriculum. And it's not just about competition. This is about player IQ, team IQ, and game IQ. These kids need to learn, and they are learning, the benefit of being mentored, being coached, being on a team, the games in themselves. We're going to use whatever game is the best to deliver curriculum, to deliver these life learning lessons through gaming. And parents, you can't market directly to kids. We have to market to parents. Parents need to understand that there's more here. And we do that by showing the parents a curriculum roadmap, so they can actually see what their son or their daughter, what their player is learning as they're with us. So like I said earlier, parents will continue to pay if there's a pathway, a curriculum that they're learning from. And also, kids are going to continue to come in and be a part of our program because of the competitions. It's that fun factor. So we put these two things together, which we have a tremendous amount of experience building, and the technology behind it, and the experience of what works and what doesn't work. One of the reasons why it was so important for Matt to step into this role and do this was obviously because of the personal impact. He's actually running a Valhallan arena on a regular basis. He knows what it's like to run the business daily and build it. So it's really important as a franchisee and as a candidate that you realize that Matt is wearing multiple hats. He's wearing the hat of a parent. He's wearing the hat of an entrepreneur who's a franchise, who is running a location, and he's wearing the hat as the brand president to understand how every decision he makes, how it impacts you as a candidate, as a franchisee. You heard Matt mention something about North American Esports League. Well, that is owned by Valhallan. So we continue to go out in either acquire platforms that allow us to contribute to how franchisees can grow, or if we have to build something. Well, we're finding a lot of great opportunities, and there's a couple more down the pipeline that you're going to hear about that's going to allow us to continue to grow. So when I hear about the games, I just want to make sure that's clear. Those games are vehicles, and we don't want to try to reinvent something. We want to use the best games that can deliver the curriculum that we have created with our years and years and years of experience, and how that's delivered. So the vehicle is a delivery system, not an end all be all. They're going to be great at a game. There's no doubt about it. But we want to focus on how they can be a great human being as well. So Matt, let's talk a little bit about some more things that you wanted to share, and also give Jamie an opportunity to share a little bit behind some of the aspects of the curriculum. Is there more that you'd like to share in terms of some of the other information in terms of the esports world and what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you mentioning the fact that I'm wearing multiple hats as a father, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, and also a leader of Valhallan. And the important thing as a leader is to create the vision, but to also hire really smart people who are smarter than they are, to be able to do the tasks that are really going to move the needle for esports and for Valhallan. And Jamie, who's just a superstar, is one of those team members that has been working diligently behind the scenes of making Valhallan what it is. And so I'd like to have her talk a little bit about the player curriculum, why it's important, how we engage the players in doing things that are going to make them a better person, not just a better gamer. So Jamie, let me pass it over to you. Tell us what you've been working on, what our team's been working on, and how franchisees are going to be able to benefit from this curriculum.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for all of that. I love listening to you guys talk actually, because I always like get motivated. That's like my why. You know, I wake up every morning and I'm like, it's not like just going to work, it's going to work with a purpose. Like you get to impact so many lives. And that's one of the most amazing things that I get to experience is like I've been gaming for so long and I was able to make it something out of this for my life and everything. I love the fact that we use like the games as a car, a vehicle to teach these life skills to kids, especially these life skills. You can think of it as like any sport in general. Like kids might love basketball, they might love football. You put them on a team and they learn these life skills from them. These games are exactly the same way. Like video games is my social hub. It's how I interact with my family. It's how I interact with my friends and everything. And I use these to learn how to communicate with people. Everything I know about communication is from these video games, actually. So I wouldn't be where I am today without video games. That's what I really love about this curriculum is I've really noticed that esports is missing that life skill portion. Video games nowadays, whether it's any tournament hosting kind of things or anything out there right now in esports, is all around the pro players. It's all about you're already good and you're moving forward and getting tournament money or moving in tournaments. And just if you're not good at the game, you don't really have an opportunity to be in that field even. But Valhallan and this curriculum really brings a way for any player, no matter what skill you are, to shine. Whether you're really good at talking, like an in-game leader, like I personally am really good at talking. I talk too much sometimes, so I found myself as like I'm not the best at video games, but I'm actually really good at like community coordinating, and I guess I'm really good at talking. So I usually on a team I become the IGL, and my teammates are the ones that do the advanced stuff and everything.
And what does the IGL do?
The IGL is the in-game shot caller. So basically the coach on the field. You can't always have the headset with your coach on. So obviously the team needs someone to guide them and everything. But these are the things that we're teaching the kids in this curriculum, and parents too. Parents can go through these curriculum and see some snippets of like what they're learning and everything. So we're teaching them how to bridge that gap of life lessons to the beginning to the very end. We're teaching them the mental skills, the physical skills, and definitely the mechanical skills also. Something that no one really talks about is the mental aspects of the video games. You lose a lot. You lose a lot in video games, and kids, you can tell, get really frustrated with constantly losing. They lose and they're just like, why did I lose? And then they'll get really frustrated.
Yeah.
So with Valhallan, we give them a place to learn how to channel that, like where that energy goes to. Once they lose, they can get upset about it, but what they do afterwards is what matters. They have a place where people can guide them through their mistakes and guide them through how to get there. That's what I really appreciate about this curriculum, and being able to write it. I've learned so much just from writing it myself, because it's going into detail about different things of like mindfulness meditation before a competition kind of thing is like a big one for me, is knowing how to like get yourself ready for competition and not just jumping right in. I bet most kids nowadays, when they get home from school, they'll jump right into a game without thinking about it. No warm up, no practicing, no nothing. They just jump right in, and then they wonder, why did I lose? So with Valhallan, it really brings that teamwork, this life skills, the learning how to communicate with each other all together. And it really bridges that gap of how do I get to where I want to be? How do I get to the college scholarship? How do I get colleges or pro teams to notice me too? We give players a platform to guide them to this place that they want to go to.
And then for our elite gaming, we bring in pros to help in the curriculum. What's some of the things that the pros do that really helps us be able to be relevant to these gamers?
They're always checking on updates for the games. They always know immediately too how it affects the game, and we move pieces around in the curriculum. The curriculum's been written for a long time now, but we're constantly making changes at least every week, because we know that the game constantly changes, because developers are always saying, how do we make the game fresh? How do we make it more advanced? How do we make it more fun? And that's the biggest thing, is how do we keep the games fun? If you do the same thing over and over and over again, it's going to get bland. So of course they're going to develop to make it more fun. And it's our job to make sure that these curriculum is stayed up to par and up to date to what is happening. So you don't have to go looking for the answers yourself. As a kid, you're already balancing school, your friends, your family. You have to do the dishes. You're not going to have time to look up what's going on and how to play the game again. So that's what we come in, and we're just like, okay, this is the new thing that just came out. This is how you work around it. And then the kids can then decide for themselves as a team how they want to navigate the new meta and everything.
Yeah, I was talking to one of our pros the other day, and he said how he has alerts on his phone that whenever there's a change to the game, the alert sounds and he reads through that change and is immediately on his computer writing the new content and curriculum for that. So staying up to date and staying relevant is absolutely critical. You know, there's one of the things that we do different where we have final projects for our players. When they reach different levels within the curriculum, they actually have some homework and a project to do. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so what they're basically doing at the end of every level is presenting. So they're not just in front of a computer all the time playing a computer game. They're going outside of the video game, making these presentations, doing presentations, and making game plans or career projects. So like whatever they want to do, and they get to use it in everyday life. So they're learning those communication skills, public speaking skills, planning, critical thinking skills. And it's not just in the game, but it's in real life, but it's taking what they love to do, which is video games, and putting it in that real life aspect.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. You know, one of the
Thank you,
things
Jamie. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead. I know we only got you guys for a couple more minutes, so yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so one more minute. I just wanted to touch on the arena really quick, because, you know, the arena is such an awesome place where the kids love to come. You know, not only is it state of the art, we have state of the art gaming machines and monitors and all of the things that, you know, the kids just eyes get so huge when they walk into our arena. But it's branded with Valhallan, and we talk about you know, where each player can ascend to, you know, through those different stages. And so kids that are, you know, just learning the game and are at a certain level are going to play against kids like that, and other kids that are players that have been playing for a long time and are proficient at the game are going to play with kids that are proficient as well. And so we're able to divide groups and teams based upon ability. And as Jamie said, IGL is the leader, and then we have a support person, and then we have a good fragger. And so we're able to divide those players up to make a good team, working on teamwork, working on sportsmanship, working on things that we traditionally get in traditional sports like baseball, basketball, but now we're able to apply those to esports.
Well, and you know, there's so much more that I know that we can go into. There's so many things that are just flying around, but we need to keep these calls at this you know, 20, 30 minutes so we can continue to do these calls and give more information in the future and kind of what we're about. What we didn't touch on all the levels of our curriculum. We didn't touch on any of our pricing structure. We didn't touch on how parents step up and volunteer their time, and how many people we need, and what's your ideal size of space. I mean, there are so many more questions that we can dive into, and those are meant to do one-on-one, because a lot of it's going to be market specific. A lot of it's going to be based on you as an entrepreneur. It can be based on, are you going to be involved? Are you going to be hiring people? How big is your space going to be? Are you going to do a studio? Are you going to have an arena? There's a lot of unanswered questions. So some of the questions that I know that are spinning through a lot of people's heads, understand that we can answer all those questions. We like to do a lot of that one-on-one. If you want to dive in with our team, we host Discovery Days every single month. We get a chance to meet Jamie. You get a chance to meet Matt. You get a chance to meet myself and the rest of our team. Our curriculum is complete but never finished. And Jamie touched on that, and so did Matt. It's constantly being sharpened. We have an entire team here at the office that you can geek out with on every aspect of what we do. How do you attract parents to do this? How do you find the right location? there's no step in this process where you're alone. Everything that we do with you. And there's decisions you're going to have to make on your own, but we're here to guide you through that. We're a full support structure, long term. This isn't about just getting you open and letting you be. This is supporting and working with you as long as you need us, and as long as we are working here with you. We are here to support you and work you through the entire life cycle of you being a franchisee, however long that may be. So keep in mind that there's a lot of questions that we can go through here, but we want to leave those to some of that to one-on-one. So Matt, any last words that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, just thank you for having this call, Marty. It's you're right. There's so much more we can go into, and just excited to have visitors at our arena and also at Discovery Day. Looking forward to meeting all of you and giving you all of the information that you need about Valhallan to make a smart decision. You know, myself as both a franchisee and a franchisor, and not only this business, but in multiple businesses, I realize the amount of investment that you're making personally in opening a Valhallan arena. And we take that very, very seriously. Our support and our staff are here to work with you and to make sure that we can help you be as successful as you want to be. So thank you, Marty, and I look forward to meeting everyone.
Awesome. Thanks for your time. And we will, and again, if you have more questions, you want to reach out. Anybody who's listening to this has received an email from me. You can go to our website, valhallan.com. You're going to be able to enter information. You can reach out to me, which is marty@franchisar.com. You can reach out anytime, and I'd be more than happy to jump on a call, have a conversation. We can have Matt come on a call. We can have Jamie come on a call. We can talk more through any questions you have, especially market-specific stuff. So, but otherwise, thanks for your time, and feel free to reach out anytime.